Now this is a little thing called, I like to call the finger trick. I don't know where I learned it from, but I think it's really useful. If I make my one hand into a tiny, tiny, tiny hole, like a pinhole, close one eye, pinhole, close one eye, and look through the pinhole and stick my finger out in front of that, I should be able to focus on my fingernail and focus on whatever's way past my fingernail. Right now I'm looking into my son's room, so I can see the old dirt road sign and it's in sharp focus, and my finger's in sharp focus. Now, without opening my other eye, I'm going to pull away the aperture, and I have to decide whether to focus on the foreground or the background. And that's because, well, that's because with a small aperture, everything's in focus. There are many safety issues concerning lights. I'm going to tell you 5 of them. You've probably seen these before, so I'll make it quick. This is a Tweenie 650 watt Fresnel light. I'm going to plug this in, and when I do, I'm going to do a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to loop the cable underneath one of the legs of the stand. That way, it can't tip over as easily. Then, I'm not going to put my knees or my hands on the ground when I plug it in. That way, I'm not connecting with the ground, and I'm not creating a way to get electrocuted. One hand. 3 out of 5 of these safety tips will only work if the operator is wearing shoes. Then before I turn the light on, I would obviously open the barn doors, but I'm going to tap it with the back of my hand just to make sure that I'm not going to have any excess electricity coming through the stand. If I tap it with the back of my hand will close on nothing. If I tap it with the front of my hand, death. Okay, so I'm going to open up the barn doors. The 4th thing I'm going to do is say something before I turn it on so people don't get blinded, and worst case scenario, people don't get little bits of glass in their eye when the lens explodes. So here I go. Light coming on, or watch your eyes, or sparking. As long as you say the same thing during the whole shoot and talent knows what you're talking about, then you're fine, right? So have a little chat with them. Say, every time I say watch your eyes, it means don't look directly into the light. Watch your eyes. I'll bring in another stand just to show you. Suppose that this stand has a light on it and it's plugged into power. I don't ever want to grab this light and this light at the same time, because if this is earthed to one part of the building and this is earthed to another part of the building, the difference in earth potential will go through my arms, through my heart, and zap me. So I don't want to ever do this one at a time. Some gaffers only set lights that are 6 feet apart so that anybody over 6 feet can get zapped, but anybody under 6 feet can't quite reach. What else? I was going to tell you one more thing about that. About the difference in ground potential. So remind me, and I'll remember, and I'll tell you later. So there are many ways you can light someone. I'm going to show you a very simple way that's usually flattering, but you're lighting it so you can light it however you want. I'm just showing you the Rembrandt way. So this is a piece from a Rembrandt painting, and what do you notice about it? Well, the shadows are soft. So this means that the light was coming in soft, just like the light's coming in soft on me right now. Also, see how the reflection of light in his eyes tell us where the light was coming from. So it was coming from somewhere over here. What what else can you notice about it? The light's coming from up high, and it's because of the way that he's positioned, his nose shadow creates a little triangle of light in his shadow side of his eye. So see that little triangle of light? And that's how you kind of know that you're in Rembrandt lighting territory. Now, the way to do this is really, really simple. It's one light with diffusion and a bounce. And it looks like there's no bounce, but actually, if you look here on the side of his face, you can faintly see that there's some bounced light coming back in. I went to the latest Rembrandt exhibit in London. Was really interesting. I had seen everything before because I go to every Rembrandt exhibit because I love him. But I saw what they had that was really cool was they had a picture of, it was like a model of the window that was in his studio and the diffusion over the window. So this is kind of, and now that you've seen this before, you'll start noticing that in most drama, everything's lit Rembrandt style. The only difference is that usually we're shooting into the shadow side, and right now it's straight on, so he's got shadow on one side of his face and brightness on the other. But usually we would turn him and shoot this way. So that's Rembrandt lighting. I just remembered what I was going to tell you that I couldn't remember. If you do get electricity through your body and you feel the jolt, you need to go to A&E for 24 hours and stay there for 24 hours, because electricity travels at the speed of light, and if it goes through your heart, even for a fraction of a second, it could stress your heart out and you could have a heart attack. And after 24 hours, it's less likely that that will happen. So go to the emergency room and just sit there for 24 hours. So bring a book, bring something to do, samurai Sudoku,